Good morning, Jan.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well, thank you. How?
Good.
Sorry, I'm a little late, but that's the story of my life.
Okay, I'm doing about a million things because I just came off of the AAR conference and
Oh,
all
okay.
that stuff. So, yeah, I gave a paper on Saturday.
Uh-huh. Okay. AAR, refresh my memory.
American Academy of Religion and the Society of Biblical Literature, SBL,
Oh,
AAR SBL, and they do an annual conference in November right before Thanksgiving, always.
that's
So,
right. Okay. I think I was a member of the AAR way back when in the 60s.
oh, wow, okay.
And then around that time, I think they split off the American Academy of Liturgy. And that wasn't quite the title, but it did. And then I was a member of that probably up until the early 70s, I think. Wait a minute. No, in the 70s, I was a member then up until probably the mid 80s when I just couldn't afford the time anymore. North American Academy of Liturgy, NAAL.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's what
I
it was.
wonder
I still have some fond memories of their uh, what do you call it, their conferences, as well
yeah.
as some of the people involved who were the old timers of the liturgical renewal who have gone to their hope for reward to be replaced by hotshot firebrands who want to take everything back to before the council.
Oh, yeah, really. I know. Believe me, it's like it's like, this these
They're rendered speechless.
yeah, I am because I just have, I mean, other than getting like, hot under the collar like I usually do, it's sort of like, what is it with this? I mean, I think it's just the generational backlash that the young people don't want to do what the old people are doing, which I had the same feeling when I was growing up. So,
Mhm.
it's partly that, but this whole, and I always make the analogy to Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris, where, we used to think, when I was in fashion, that the 30s, the 20s and the 30s fashion was so way better than what we had now. And, you have this romantic idea. And here are these people who have this romantic idea, apart from the whole Asian church, thinking that Vatican I is the, authentic church, and anything beyond Vatican II is not right, not correct, not
Mhm.
the real church,
Mhm.
in quotes. And so I just, plus it's the divide between, like what, Mary Meckley says in Ireland, the old Catholics, us old European white, primarily white Catholics, American Catholics, as opposed to, the global South,
Mhm.
Africa, South America, and then Asia too.
Mhm.
So there's such a divide there that, but yet, like, I'm part of the Women's Caucus, which is sort of a, kind of an offshoot group. We're kind of integrating more because more and more women are giving speeches in the regular academic part of AAR and SBL,
Mhm.
where we are all talking about very progressive church. And, Phyllis Zagano was one of our people, for our publishing panel for her new book on women icons of Christ, which is amazing. I mean, she's done so much work for so long on this deacon issue,
Mhm. Mhm.
and she's amazing. I mean, she has worked so hard. She is so prepared. she knows all the stuff. I sat in another session where they were, had a conversation between the Eastern and Western Church, which you would have loved to be part of, and how, she was joking and she goes, the Western Church doesn't want to move until the Eastern Church does, and the Eastern Church doesn't want to move until the Western Church does on this issue. And so we're stuck.
Well, and the other thing is, my impression of the Eastern and Western churches, they may be waiting for the other to move, but if they do, then they'll go in the opposite direction.
Ah, good
and
point.
and accuse them of heresy. And
Well, I don't know if that would happen, only because in my view, I see this sort of coming together of both sides only because it puts us in a more numerical, quantitative position for the other, against the other religions out there. So that's my only sort of looking at this whole sort of trying to reconcile with the Eastern Church, the Western Church trying to reconcile with the Eastern. So that's my issue, except that you've got the patriarchs on the Eastern side and, the Pope on the Western side. So what do you do with that?
Well, and the big problem is if it were up to the historically primary Eastern Patriarch in Constantinople, now Bartholomew, the union, if it were up to Bartholomew and Francis, the union would have been accomplished years ago.
Yeah, right. Well, and this is
unfortunately, Moscow throws in the biggest kicker. And they are absolutely intransigent because religiously they feel that in 1453, Moscow inherited the primacy after the fall of Constantinople.
Oh, I didn't, yeah, I mean, I'm not up historically on all that, but that makes, that's a very interesting.
That's a very important consideration because since 1453, the Orthodox Church in Moscow considered itself the third Rome.
Wow, okay.
Constantinople being the second Rome, and Rome, and so we've got a division there. And of course, in this whole business in the Ukraine, in particular, with two Orthodox churches being recognized, one kind of having allegiance to Moscow and the other one kind of having allegiance to Constantinople, and then a somewhat significant presence of Catholic, Eastern Catholic, Ukrainian Catholics there. You've got three groups that are fighting.
No, that's, I didn't even realize that, but yeah, for sure. That makes total sense. Yeah, no, and I mean, that's the thing is, I put in the chat and one of them in this meeting on the Orthodox Church, we're just saying, I just said, Pope Francis he's so strategic where he makes like a tiny little move, I think, to see if, how people will react and how, the other guys will react. And then he will sort of step back with a, saying something that maybe we don't like, or I don't like, but he has to keep them happy. And he's constantly like this pawn, on a chessboard moving back and forth. And, he does it so strategically, I feel, from what I can see, and he's very smart in that because, that's what keeps him. I mean, it is kind of riding the middle rail and, between all these different factions too.
Yeah. And of course, you pretty much have to.
Yeah, no, in that position, you have to. And, he's very smart. So, and then trying to bring in the global South in a way that has never been done before. So that, of course, makes the Northern European and North American churches a little nervous as well, because we're trying, and, you know, but with all of this interracial, anti-racial, post-colonial, you know, we're just
Mhm.
bringing out so many different views now. And I just feel like we're all sifting through all that to see where the commonalities are, which people don't want to give up right now. They don't want to give up the identity politics of it all
Right,
yet, because
right.
they're still establishing their own voices, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, I do identify with that way of looking at it.
It's,
Denise,
you know, it's like running a parish.
yeah, it is a bit. You know, my old metaphor for running a parish, there are two of them. Hello, Denise.
Hi
Hi,
there.
Denise.
Hi, Jan.
Oh, nice background. I
That's a
like it.
great mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Cool.
you. Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
our, I don't know. That was considered kind of our art piece for our dining room area here in
Uh-huh.
Cincinnati.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Really
thank
neat. So how are things going in Cincinnati, and how's your health?
I'm a little off with the time change, but health is good. I got my booster and I had about 104 temperature for a little over 24 hours. And then that was pretty much it. So that's good. I ran to pick up the dog from the groomers. That's why I was on late, but I thought this is exactly how people misread or think they saw something they didn't. And because I was driving back with the dog. She likes to sit in the front, and, you know, she's kind of like a human in a lot of ways, riding shotgun. But so I was pointing, you know, and I said, look, Jill, the deer, you know. Oh, now she came running over. She thought, well, there's no deer over here. So what I did that, and apparently the guy next to me thought I was flipping him off.
Oh, God.
Oh my.
So he started giving me two fingers and was like, don't you flip me up, blah, blah. And I was like, at first I was thinking, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. Like and then I went, oh, when I was pointing with the dog, he must have thought that was a different finger. So anyway, that's my story for today. Things aren't always what you think they are.
No, exactly. That's true. That's true. Hi, John.
That's right.
Hello,
Hello,
there.
John.
How are you? Hello to everybody.
Hi.
Doing well. Doing well.
Yes, yes.
Denise was just telling us a little story about a misinterpretation. Yes, yesterday, was it?
No, it was right now. That's why I was late.
Oh, okay.
What are the misinterpretations?
I went to pick up the dog from the groomer, and she likes to sit in the front seat with me. And whenever I say, she knows what the deer are, and whenever you say the D word, she gets all excited and looks. So we were driving down the road, and I pointed with my finger and I said, look, Jill, there's a deer. And next thing I know, the guy driving next to me is flipping me off with two fingers and telling me, you know, like, don't be, you know, flipping me off, this and that. And I thought, what is he talking about? But anyway, yeah. And then I figured it out. I'm like, because I was pointing to the dog, you know, to look, he thought that it was a different finger.
Yeah. It just shows how some people are so, you know, trigger happy, you know?
Well, they're just ready, right?
Yeah, they're
like
ready to pounce on
for
you,
any
yeah.
little thing. And it's like, it's like, first of all, my finger's crooked. It wouldn't have pointed right at you anyway.
That could be a whole program in itself, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, you're
I
Yeah,
think
what
I will
earth
bow
ray
out
is
of that
next
one.
to you?
John, you can lead that one.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll defer to you, Thomas, as the cleric of clerics here.
Well, it's that ego thing that they think it's about them, and it's not about them at all.
exactly.
You know?
Yeah,
But you live in,
And right after that happened, I thought, if anything, I thought of what Father Tom always said, when you point one finger, you got three coming back at you,
that's-
including my middle finger.
including that one, right?
yeah,
Right.
but that one's not crooked, right? That's pretty straight.
No, that one's not crooked. Not yet, anyway.
There's a title of a little monograph, Jan. You could do this when you finish your dissertation, you know. There you go, more light on you. That's good. We can see.
Yeah,
you.
no, sorry, I didn't put on my, my light
I'll
for,
put more on myself now. I look like,
Yeah.
anyway.
and then my computer is telling me there's a power surge because of the light. God,
Ooh,
okay,
Oh my.
there we go.
Interesting. Yeah.
So your
Actually,
story,
yeah,
John,
What's that?
you had a story? You're going to
Well,
tell us?
actually, what I was going to tell you was that I finished my book that I've been writing on
Oh,
for
good.
several months. It's called Today with Benedict.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
So I'm about to approach my publisher, and
So is it another kind of day-by-day meditation?
yeah, it's more day by day, actually. It's my other one was, was set up with a Benedictine system of reading it 3 times a year, but this is truly a daily. There's a separate devotion for each day.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
wow. Cool.
So I have a quote from the rule for that day.
We'll need a signed copy.
Well, that costs extra,
That's fine.
Not kidding.
John, we're paying the price now.
Of
Yeah.
listening to me. Yeah, you can put up with me. You're paying it forward, Tom.
The
Or
price
something.
of being a coffee bean.
Exactly. Just remember, we're a supreme being.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's. So is everybody cool with getting into this area of symbolism?
Oh, I love it. I
Mhm.
love the
Oh,
quote.
yeah, sure.
Um,
Oh,
I love Flannery O'Connor's, she really let it rip,
yeah, she was somebody in whom there was no guile.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna promote
you-
myself too,
What is
because
that?
this is the new
That's-
second volume of the Women's Caucus.
It's not showing. I
The
think
problem,
you're-
Jan,
what?
is it
Because
think
it's my
the
virtual.
background. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
right. Hold
background,
on.
the
Let me go to none here.
yeah.
There we go.
See my
Now-
bicycle
now
on.
try to
Now
show it.
that's your real
About
background.
that.
That's good. Challenging bias against women academics and wow, interesting.
Oh, nice.
So this is our second volume for creating secondary sources for our 1,000 Women in Wikipedia. And let's see, I wrote on, I don't know if any of you know who Mary Milligan was.
No.
Yeah, she was an RSHM out here, right?
Yep. And she was dean of the School of Theology and amazing woman. And so I wrote her biography.
Oh,
And
good.
I'm chapter, let's see. And this is free. This is open access on the ATLA website. Chapter 7 is about her. So this is our second
Nice.
volume, just came
Oh.
out.
Maybe
Very nice.
send us some kind of a,
I'll send you the link and
Yeah,
then you
that's-
can see,
Yeah.
because it's free. It's all free.
Nice.
What Mary Milligan was actually one of those who managed the merging of Loyola and Marymount.
Yeah, yeah,
that
she
time.
was. And she and Sandra Schneiders were the first 2 women that graduated with STDs from the Gregorian University in Rome.
Right.
nice.
Yeah,
I think I met Sandra Schneiders once because I
Same.
believe it was in the early 70s when she was studying there.
yeah, they both were there at the same time. And the only reason that Sandra was second is because alphabetically their names, Mary came before her. So she was first and Sandra was second.
Okay, and then I may have met them both at that time. I know I met Mary Milligan a few times in her time out here, but yeah, where I was living, the Casa Santa Maria, the priest's house for the North American College, is facing the same courtyard. as, you know, it's right across the courtyard from the Biblicum. And to the east is the Gregorian complex. So it was quite an amazing atmosphere at those times in the 1970s. I mean, there was a lot of good ferment going on, which, you know, in some ways probably got co-opted and turned into, you know, hippie religion type stuff.
Mm.
But and that's of course what I think a lot of people are reacting against, but without really going back to the folks who were actually doing terrific stuff at that time.
Yeah.
Tom, did you do your theology at the North American College?
No, I did theology here at St. John's in Camarillo, was in a parish for 4 years, and then finally got permission to, and you know, they allowed me to go to the place where they sent me. If it was up to me, I probably would have gone to Washington Catholic University.
Really? Not Louvain?
Not at that time. For a number of reasons. Trier would have been very interesting. Trier at that time was a big liturgical renewal center for studies.
Wow.
But Rome, you know, they did make the mistake really of putting me much more in the heart of where the liturgical developments were by sending me to Rome rather than Washington. Although there were some very, very good liturgists in Washington, D.C. But
you got more of a world perspective though going to Rome. I mean, you know.
Very much so.
Mhm.
Very much so. And that was the place where the pioneers of the liturgical renewal movement were doing their work, basically revising the Roman liturgy.
Were there a lot of Benedictines involved in that?
Oh yeah. See, where I went to study was San Anselmo.
Okay, yeah, that's their theology. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's also where the abbot primate is.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is not that much paid attention to by Benedictines, but it is by Rome.
Yeah, yeah. It's Notke somebody or other now. He's a German guy.
Yeah, I think so. I know. You know, at the time I was there, it was Weekland, Rembert.
Oh, Rembert, yeah.
I met him a couple of times.
I'm a big fan of Rembert Weekland.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you read his biography?
I haven't, no.
It's excellent, yeah. Anyway, that's all shop talk.
Anyway, that's all.
Yeah.
So
we'll stop talking shop.
So those were, you know, there is where I ran across Sandra Schneider and Mary Milligan. Yeah. The other person whom I'm probably going to mention today is David Power. I don't know if any of you have run across him. He is one of those who teased out a really, really good theology of symbol and give symbol a much, you know, the process, the process of how symbols operate in myth and in liturgy, in ritual. He was one of the big pioneers of that. We are getting about the time for people on Facebook to expect us. So shall we go?
I'm a huge fan of Eliade, so, you know,
Yeah,
he's written a lot.
Yeah,
as well.
Eliade was one of the really big pioneers there.
Yeah.
And Joseph Campbell was too.
Yeah. Mircea Eliade got an honorary doctorate the year I got my doctorate at Yale, 66.
Uh-huh.